All right. Cool. So we'll go into the sagittal plane today. But before we do, we'll add a few more muscles to our muscles of the hip lineup. So all right. So yesterday we went over the glutes. How many glute muscles are there? There are 3 exactly. Maximus, medius, minimus. Then we have our quads, which are how many muscles? 4. Exactly, 4. We got rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus intermedius, vastus medialis. What about hamstrings?
3.
All right, biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus. And if the quads are the agonist muscle of an exercise, that means the hamstrings are going to be what?
What is agonist again?
Great question. So the agonist is going to be the main muscle group used in the concentric portion or contraction of a movement. So think of it as the way I like to think of it is whatever the main muscle you think of while doing an exercise. So if I'm doing a bench press, what is my agonist going to be? Exactly, chest pectoralis major. If I'm doing a calf raise, what is my agonist going to be? Yeah, nice. Gastroc. So get it. Gastroc and soleus are the 2, but standing, calf raise, gastroc. All right, good. So so that means the hamstrings would be the antagonist of a quad movement. So the antagonist is going to be pretty much the muscle doing the opposite of that. So usually it's the muscle lengthening while the other is shortening. So if I'm doing a bicep curl, my bicep is shortening or contracting, the agonist. My tricep is going to be lengthening or the antagonist. Good. Then we got our deep 6 muscles. I'm not going to even go through those names because they're pretty long outside of the piriformis. But again, no, those are external rotators. Then we'll go into one more muscle group today. These are going to be, this muscle group is typically known as our hip flexors. Does anybody know the other name this muscle group is commonly called?
I did know it.
Starts with a P, but doesn't sound like it. Yeah, exactly. So we have our psoas group. So we have our psoas major, psoas minor, iliopsoas, and I'll do a spell check on these, and then our iliacus. So again, these are going to be our 4 muscles of the psoas. There's one other muscle that's really primarily involved in hip flexion as well. Just so you know, rectus femoris, the quad muscle. So this and these 4 are primarily involved in our hip flexion. So again, those psoas group, they're an interesting group, very important because they're, if I'm not mistaken, the only muscle that attaches at the upper and the lower body. So they're very, very involved in a lot of our, core movements, core muscle. Any core weaknesses or imbalances can likely be due to some kind of trouble in the psoas. So again, don't need to learn all 40 muscles of the hip in a day or week, so we're going to slowly group them in. But continue to work on these and continue to understand what they're involved in. And obviously, as I mentioned, these muscles here today are going to be involved in flexion. All right, so now we're going to get into our workout for today. So now we're going to talk sagittal plane today. So what are the 3 main movement patterns? Not workout move. I mean planes of motion. I'm sorry. Sagittal, frontal, and transverse. And what is the sagittal plane, or what does that mean? Zach, so forward and back movements, even more specifically, it splits the body into left and right halves. So again, the body is split into left and right halves. So again, anything forward, backwards, straight out, straight up. So it's going to be a lot of the more common exercises you think of would be in this plane. Your deadlifts, your shoulder presses, your lunges, things of that nature. So sagittal is going to be that. So we'll start there today, and then we'll go into more of a frontal plane day tomorrow. All right. So we'll start off with the hip thrust. Everybody understand how a hip thrust would be sagittal? All right, good. Then we'll go into single arm military press with a neutral grip.
What were the movements we did yesterday? What plane was that in, or was that just like?
That was I ain't gonna say every plane, but that was, well, we weren't necessarily focusing on the plane of motion. We were going through pretty much all of the basic movement patterns or basic movements when you're talking resistance training. So we went squat, push, pull, unilateral, which was our step up. Then we did core with our plank, or abs with our plank, and then I think I covered it. Hinge. We didn't go over hinge yesterday, but those would be some of the main movements. Oh, we did do it. We did the floor bridge. That counts as a hinge. All right. So yeah, those were more mastering and understanding pretty much every type of movement is going to be based on one of those patterns. So we were just really going through some of the basics yesterday, but now we're getting into planes. So sagittal plane today. But also before I get into the rest of the workout, I wanted to talk about also kind of the programming style you'll typically see from us, and why we program this way. So as you see, this first group, we have we have a 1, then we have an A, then a B. So it's obviously you can call it a triple set, but more specifically, we work under the pattern of core accessory. And Daniel, can I pick on you? What does that mean?
So core, the first one, core for the first 2, 1 and A are the movements that your client needs. And B is kind of like something that gets them engaged. So I would say, like, if I have a client that wants abs, I would do crunches, something to like feel the burn, use the time to engage. Like, for example, I think my second week here, we were doing planks right here. It was me, Makita, and Megan, and we were doing planks, like throwing a basketball. Yeah. Right there outside. So take that B to get involved with your clients when you do use this in your future. Yeah. And it's getting the key, they're gonna love you.
Yeah. For sure. So yeah. So it's like he said. So like core accessory. In a nutshell, so core doesn't actually mean abs in this situation. Core means our multi-joint and multi-pattern movements. So our first 2 exercises, typically when we're going to be programming, are going to be multi-jointed, not full body, but multi-jointed movements. They're our core patterns. And as he said, those are going to be more of our essential, like, everyone needs to understand how to do these in resistance training. So they're going to be movements such as hip thrust, shoulder press. So again, these are our multi-jointed movement patterns that we need. And then the accessory, as he said, is the one you could have a little more fun with. In essence, it can be some kind of ab movement, because a lot of clients like to do abs, want to work abs, or it could be something very specific to them. For example, if I have a client that's like, look, I really want to tone my glutes. Again, I'm not gonna just sit here and do all glutes with them all day, but again, the accessory exercise is when I can add in a little more, like maybe I'm doing cable kickbacks, maybe I'm doing more isolated glute work. So a lot of the programming we'll do is gonna be in this core accessory format. Especially, it's very important early on, but again, you can do it throughout. It's great, and the good thing about it as well, as you'll see as we do this, you can get multiple exercises done without fatiguing one group. So kind of look at this. For example, we have hip thrust, which is going to be a lower body hinge. We have single arm military press, upper body push, and then the ab exercise. So again, 3 exercises, you're getting all of those done before you rest. But since they're all different body parts and body groups, the person isn't going to be fatigued. For example, if this was somebody's first day and they were doing hip thrust, then goblet squats, then band walking, that would probably be a really hard superset. They'd probably fatigue after 1 or 2 sets. And so again, this is gonna make it more efficiency when you're doing this core accessory. A lot of what we'll talk about is making sure you're alternating the core patterns, whether it be push and pull, whether it be upper and lower, things, the anterior, posterior. So again, core accessory will be the pattern we work off of. And again, get used to it and feel free to ask any questions as we go throughout.
So this core pattern is something you would do if it's a day where you're doing full body, or this is something you do if it's a full body day with a new person?
Good question. So again, yes and no. It can be for anyone. So yes, full body, it does help make it even more optimal because yes, you're able to get more exercises done at once. But even if I'm doing upper body, I could keep the same format. So let's say I was just doing upper body. I could even do, let's say I would do it maybe push-pull then accessory. So maybe here I have a push already. So maybe if I was doing all upper, I would do like let's say a cable row here, then a military press, then V-ups. But yeah, you can mix it up throughout. Again, that's a lot of why we like doing the core accessory. Superset is, yes, it's great for full body, but you can use it even if you're isolating as well. So it's pretty much a way you can vary exercises throughout. And again, like, yeah, it might get to a point where you get to an advanced client that wants to do multiple push exercises in the same set. You can still have it in this format, but again, it's still giving them time to do different exercises and rest. Then we'll go chin-ups next. So chin-ups are gonna be sagittal. Does everybody understand why that is? Let me hear. What would pull-ups be? Exactly, frontal. So that's important to know. Your hands are out here, gonna be in that frontal plane. Good, and then what is gonna be our third for this set? We're gonna do a plank. All right, then our third set is gonna be step-ups, single arm row, and curls.
Main exercises for number 1, 2, and 3?
Probably a girl.
Probably more of a girl, because that's where we're going to produce the most force. So this is all really valuable for you to put this in your memory bank, to write these down, because you can have a girl that comes in, and the biggest anxiety that a lot of people get is that first workout. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Oh, they don't like the workout? Yeah, this has been tried and proven. It's going to work. Hip thrust, they're going to feel it in their abs. Do a military press, upper body. Do some V-ups, their abs. RDLs, they're going to feel that stretch in their hamstrings. Chin-ups, empowering. I love doing it with all my girls. Because they'll say that, oh, I can't do chin-ups. Who told you that? No, you can't. We'll get you up there. We'll come down. You can do it. Plank, core, we get some very, I like doing boring exercises. Planks and add value. I can show someone who's done 1 million planks in their life, show them a new variation, like, wow, that's so cool. Bicycle kicks, love doing them because everyone does it like this. When you show value on simple exercises, it really helps. Step-ups are great. Sagittal, we'll do frontal ones as well. Single arm row, get a feel in the core. Curls, but also, as we have like a little finisher down here, student called them that a long time ago, inverted rows with some triceps. But you can also think of it as, what's fun today? If your client, if it's a nice day out there, sun's out, maybe you want to go run down and touch the sign. It's totally on them. I like to ask them, you got a little left in the tank? How you feeling? You good? You got a little left? You got a push up. Especially if you have the whole gym to yourself, you can do some cardio back and forth. So the accessory to that B, think of it as what you like to do.
Yeah.
So this is a great little sagittal-based workout today.
So what is this Chris dip?
You know what those are?
I don't know if I could.
So those are just the inverted rows.
Okay.
Inverted body weight triceps. So how low can you go?
Okay,
so you want
okay.
to keep your body nice and straight.
Oh, okay.
Hold, and then get up. So it's just for your triceps. And
All
so do you think it's harder if we go up or go down? Down.
Yeah.
So like how low can you go? Can you get down here? Keep your butt touched. A lot of people will come too close and their elbows will come out. So you really want to come out here and you're going to feel it in your core a lot. So keep your head neutral, come down, hang, and then come out. We don't want to sag, we don't want to stick our butt up. Worst case scenario, I always teach my clients how to fail. I think that's an important thing because what happens is they're doing the exercise, they don't know what to do. So I show them, if something feels off, how do you think you would fail? Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Nothing can happen.
Exactly.
I do that with push-ups. Worst case scenario, something feels off, put your knees up. Or worst case scenario, you're not going to die, it's fine. If you show them those fails.
Yeah.
I want to, wanted to do a little thing real quickly. So stand right here. So we're in a clock. What time is in front of Barack? 12. Behind him. So then that's sagittal. Any exercise in the clock that he does, it's sagittal if he touches forward or back. So let's just watch his reaction time. So just put whatever foot naturally you want. He likes to do left. So then his hip came up with flexion. This is flexion. This is technically flexion, dorsiflexion. So this is what they call front side mechanics, back side mechanics. So come back and see what he do. And so he likes to go left. So then what's to his right and his left?
Lateral, or frontal.
Good. And so what time is over here?
3.
3. And good. So then let's come back to the middle. And let's go with your hands. Go out. And then come back down. And then any type of rotation. What is that? So any other time on the clock. So here's the interesting thing about planes of motion. Textbook planes of motion, it's going to be like sagittal, frontal, transverse. But like when you're, a lot of times you may squat like this and they will call this technically sagittal.
Yeah.
But really my feet are more transverse. So we want you guys to think what is textbook, but then also getting you to think a little differently. So here's a fun little game you can also do, trainer value add. So I'm going to push you again, bro. Mm-hmm. But I want you to go forward with the foot I tell you.
All right.
All right? Right. Let's go again. Left. Good. That's reactive. And as we learn about type 2 muscle fibers are reactive and fast. And so these are exercises you could do with clients. Be safe. I'm comfortable with him. You can have them do it on the wall. So they have their hands out. Left. And that's just going to help with the neural stuff as well. You could put that stuff in here as the bead. That's where you can make it fun. Don't get lost in the fun as the main lift. But then we also challenge you, how can you get involved? So Brock's doing some lateral raises. See, lateral raises, what kind of motion is this? Okay, so at the end of the set, so let's pretend like we're doing this. We're doing a hip thrust into a military press, into a lateral raise. I want to get involved to add some value. So hold, resist. Isometric, good. Nice. So now people see it as the trainer's getting involved. I could easily counting my reps, or have my phone out, put it down for 30 seconds, or be texting. You see it all the time. So think about ways where you can add value with spotting, getting involved. Guys are terrible with hip thrust because we're stupid. And so guys will be, oh, let's set up the hip thrust right here. Going this way. So everyone gets to see it. Come on, guys, use your head. So when we do hip thrust, go this way. I always make a joke. What's the number one rule with hip thrust?
Like something silly.
No eye contact. Don't have eye contact. You're doing like, there we go, 3 more. It's like 3, right? So be aware, like when you do it, like walk around. Over here, nice, good. There we go, good job. Here we go, nice. So we're walking, put them towards the wall. I've seen trainers do it. Open up to everyone. So it's like, those are things you gotta be. Do you have a question on that? Or?
Well, I was just gonna say you kind of have to like set it up against a wall. Like that's what I always do.
True. Sometimes, so that's why this is nice right here, because we can do that one and put it on the rack there. But you are correct. Sometimes you need to have that wall. That's why Brecken Trainers' place is nice, because it's all women, but he has all the racks on there. So just try to be mindful, because it's funny. Common sense. What do they say about common sense?
It's not that common.
It's not that common. You could have Brock doing chest flies, and we set up the thing right here. And you're like, yeah, that's the client is like staring at this person. So be aware of your environment.
Yeah.
And we challenge you guys little things like music. You don't have to think about that in a corporate gym, but if you're here, I don't know what it is with you girls. Who's your favorite rapper today? Cardi B. She's talking about some weird. I'm learning stuff from her. I'm like, oh fuck. But if you got Granny over here working out, you got Cardi B, you got to think about that. I'm like, well, maybe this isn't the best. So think about your environment. Remember final destination, stuff that's around. And worst case, if someone's going to fall, how are they going to correct themselves? So we got our sagittal plane. Last little thing that may help for some people is I've heard people say things like, pretend like you're going to clean the wall. So if this wall comes through me, how do I clean the wall?
On the side.
So this is all all sagittal stuff right here. All sagittal movements. We got the clock analogy, 12-6. If this were to go through me, how would I be in the wall? This one. This would be frontal. And then if it cuts me in half, I clean the wall like this. Come here. So those are your planes of motion. Anything else, bro?
Yeah, no, I think, it's kind of reiterating what you were saying just about the program and what we're going through this throughout the program. But yeah, just understanding, as he said, we can throw fun and like tailor things into a workout, but that is going to be, kind of secondhand. It's the bees, the accessories, the finishers. Like everyone, and again, it's a natural thing when you're starting off early. Everyone gets so hung up on programming. Like for the most part, like obviously there's some things we can tweak. Like Chris said, like maybe it'll be one or two more leg exercises for somebody who wants to improve legs versus somebody who wants to improve arms. But programming should look, especially early on, should look pretty similar for most people. Where you're gonna see the variety is gonna be the accessories or the finishers. Like everybody, like when we're talking resistance training, everybody has to master full body movements. Whether I want to build muscle, lose weight, just get stronger, get more powerful, it is all the same starting out. It's mastering all those patterns we talked about yesterday. If I want to shred up, I need to learn how to squat, push, pull, plank, move. If I want to bulk up, I need to learn how to do the same things. So don't get too caught up in like, oh, I got to make this suit super tailored for this person, and it can get intimidating. It's happened to the best of us. If we see, whether it's a girl or a guy who's in great shape, we're like, oh, we got to give him something crazy. It's like, no. You show your value in explaining things. Tempo is a good one as well. Like slow them down. Like that's the number one easiest thing to do is slow people's tempo down. You'll see people just cranking weights out. Hey, you can slow that down 3 seconds. It's already harder. Same thing like Chris said with planks. There's a million ways to do them. So get comfortable with just mastering the complex compound movements, and then add your variety in in those accessories and in the finishers. But all right. So we'll get going today. Oh yeah, I did want to ask you all, let's assume this is like the first day or first week for somebody. What do you think the rep ranges should be at for this client?
10 to 10.
I like 10 to 15 the best. Again, 8 to 12 isn't wrong per se, but I'd probably wait a couple weeks before I'm doing it. Why is 10 to 15 typically a little more optimal when you're talking about a newer client? Lighter weight is part of it. What's the other part? Think neural, so think repetition. So again, we don't want to have somebody doing just 5 or 6 reps early on. Like again, that's great for when we're in the strength range or when we're really getting back. But again, we want them getting a lot of reps so they can learn it. We talk about the body. It's general adaptation syndrome. I'm sure if you've studied NASM, you've probably seen GAS general adaptation syndrome. The body has to be alarmed. The alarm has to have a new kind of stimulus so it gets to a point where it adapts to it. So the more reps early on is going to be better. Our mind is learning. Our mind is responding. And so yeah, that 10 to 15 range. Again, you can get into the 20s and 25s if it's like a finisher. But again, we don't want to be doing that much for somebody newer either, because they might be getting fatigued at that point as well. And so we don't want them that 10 to 15 is going to be an optimal range early on, where they're getting, a load that's not too crazy heavy, but it's also challenging, but they're also getting enough reps optimally. So for most of these, we'll just say today, going about 10 to 15 reps. And we'll go through two rounds of everything and then do our finisher today. So, let's get into a couple warm-ups first. So what are a couple things we want to make sure we're doing when we're warming up? I love it. Great answer. That's going to be the main thing. Warming up the muscle group about to be used. So specificity. So again, we want to warm up that muscle group being used, and we want to warm it up specific to things we're about to do. So again, today is full body, so we're pretty gonna do a little bit of everything. But again, specificity is key. Blood flow is key. And then do we want to be more static, or do we want to be more dynamic with our warm-ups? Oh, And we actually want to be a little more dynamic going into a weightlifting exercise. So again, static exercising is going to be, static stretching rather, is good. It can be good, especially if you're talking about someone that's had an extreme level of tightness or injury. But usually that's going to be more on or a cool down or on a certain day. We want to be a little more dynamic right before we get into the resistance training. Now again, that doesn't mean going outside and sprinting, but it does mean, moving the body. For example, instead of maybe just having your client do you see everybody just do this typical hip stretch. How about we have them in a mobile plane of motion, doing an actual rotational hip stretch exercise, so they're actually getting mobile. Because again, our exercise and our resistance training isn't going to be static. So while it is okay to throw some in there, you want to make sure you're having some dynamic movements while you're warming up. All right, so we'll get started with a couple. The first I want to have you all do is I just call it a step lunge with a twist. We'll start off in a plank position. You're just gonna step, twist, and then alternate. And get it nice, slow, and control. You don't have to speed through it. I want you to go 6 each way for 12 total. Yeah, so again, you're warming up. It's a full body exercise. You're getting some shoulder stability, you're getting some thoracic twist. You're getting, obviously your hips are open up, some external rotation. Yeah, so really open it up. Should feel nice and comfortable, able to fully extend and fully open up. Yeah, one. Couple more. Good. All right, next we're gonna stand up. We're just gonna do some what we call arm cars. They stand for controlled articular revolutions. It's really good for the shoulder girdle, the rotator cuff. Let's start with that thumb down. Gonna go in a full circle, slow and control, and then you're gonna reverse that movement. So again, key here, we wanna make sure we're not twisting too much in the body, trying to keep the body straightforward as possible. Working slow and getting that full range of motion, letting that shoulder stretch as well as the lat and the chest. Let's go 8 in each direction. And then we'll switch sides. Again, this one you really want to get, it's really good to get some rotational shoulder work in for a lot of clients. Make sure they're able to move through that, because you'd even be able to see, like, I might even just be assessing the client. If I see they can't really go, if they have to use their body a lot, then I might stay away from like heavy loaded overhead exercises right now until they're comfortable getting in that proper range of motion. Good. There we go, 8 each side. Once you all get to 8.
I have a really hard time keeping count for myself even.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, you'll get